What's up, guys? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one I want to break down what's happening with the overall market. Just note that I am not a financial planner, so make sure you take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $2,000, you're guaranteed 30 in total, and the offer is very soon. So, as far as Tesla's going, we got a bit of a sell-off after we got lots of negative news about how their sales are declining throughout Europe. There's also been some talk about how tariffs could be a little negative for them in China, especially as we're seeing China taking retaliatory efforts right now against the US after the big shift that happened. So I went over all this news in the past. I'm not going to go over all the details right now, but I just want to talk about the charts in more detail. Just know that we got some important data. The ISM Services PMI report was very close to expectations, a little bit low, which shows a small decline within the sector, but it's not that bad. Business activity was also a little bit short, not too bad. Employment was still quite solid, and then we had new orders a little bit weak, just a little bit weaker than before. This could be because of how supply is being affected. And then prices are still technically below expectations, so that was good. So a couple of things were good, some things were not so good, very, very mixed data. As soon as the data came out, we saw the market dump, and then it got bought back up very, very nicely so far. So SPY dumped all the way down to about the 598 area, dumped about 3 points. Then it got bought back up. So far it's holding up. I want to mention that what is good about SPY is the fact that there's a possible wedge forming right over here. This is looking like a possible bullish wedge. As long as we don't lose this yellow trend line, this could continue to push. Even if we do dip below this, we could continue to uptrend. And if we do break past 602, I am expecting SPY to break out a lot more. If we get some kind of breakout, that could be more positive for Tesla. But unfortunately, with all the negative news, like I was saying, it's dragging Tesla down. It's a little bit lower and weaker than the broader markets. Why is Tesla weak? Because their German sales have declined. The Italian sales, the sales throughout Europe and the UK have declined. The news also came out that in the USA as a whole, their sales declined a little bit compared to what we saw last year. And then also in California, there's been a big decline in sales. So why is there a decline in sales? Could it be economic factors? That could be one factor. It could be because many of these users are waiting for the Model Y refresh. So there's many different reasons for why Tesla could be looking for a sales decline in January. Just wanted to call that out. Anyways, as far as the future goes for Tesla, we're still doing quite fine. I'm very excited for the long term, and like I said before, it's too early to make the call that Tesla sales are going to be bad in 2025. Although the media tries to paint it that way, it's way too early to make that claim. We're waiting for the Model Y refresh, and we just got past January, so we have plenty of months left for Tesla to make a comeback. With that being said, the tariffs are a little bit more negative for Tesla. There's been some more talk about that as China wants to increase tariffs on many of these EVs, even for like Tesla potentially. But like I said before, even if that ends up being the case, Tesla should be fine for the longer term. Now, for the short term, the market's at a very, very key level. We're going to be watching to see how we end up reacting. Tesla ended up losing the 4-hour support at 386. So because we haven't been able to hold this, it's dipping a little bit lower. Now, we have this support right here. This trend line is acting as our support. That's currently very close to 380. So I want to see if Tesla could hold this. If we don't hold this, Tesla will be dumping even lower, all the way down to about the 370s. So watch the low 380s as support. If that fails us, I think Tesla could be dipping to about 374. If we hold this trend line, if we see a nice close above this, then if a green bar forms after that on the 4-hour close, Tesla could try to bounce for 386 for a small move back up. But overall, like I said before, Tesla's a little bit lackluster compared to the markets. It's just barely holding this support for now. So let's hope that Tesla holds this and tries to get a rebound to about 386. So I'll be watching that very closely. Just keep in mind, it's a little bit lackluster because of the negative news that's come out. And if we end up losing 380, please be careful. It could be dipping quite a bit more to like the mid 370s. So watch 380 is the main support, very close to where this trend line is. And to be bullish, you want to get back above 386 at the very least. Otherwise, Tesla is shuffling in the low 380s, and there's a risk of a little bit more downside if we can't once again get that bounce. So keep that in mind. We're shuffling. There could be a little bit more downside coming for now, but we need to hold 380 at the very least to try to bounce. So we'll see if that holds or not. As far as SPY is going, Like I said before, we have this bullish wedge that's been trying to develop. We'll have to see if SPY can break 602 to really break out. If 602 breaks, this thing is going to be pushing for 605 or above. If we lose this trend line, we could be tipping back down towards 590, excuse me, 598 and 595. As of right now, we're holding support, so I hope that this continues to hold up and we maintain a nice uptrend. So we'll see. So far, SPY is holding support. As time progresses, there's going to be potential for a bigger move up, but we're going to be watching to see how it reacts for now. So just keep that in mind. It's shuffling in the low 600s. If we break 602, we will turn bullish, and there's a wedge for me that gives us that potential. But for now, we're just going to shuffle for the time being. For the QQQ, we're doing a good job at holding up. We dumped after we got AMD and Google's earnings all the way down to about 518, but then the market got bought back up. So right now, to be bullish, you want to see a break past 525 to push up for the 528 to 530 area. And if we end up losing support at 520, we could be looking for a move back down, all the way back down towards 518. So we'll be watching this very, very closely to see if we get a small dip first before it tries to break out. But the setup is still technically bullish. It's a bullish setup. We're making higher lows. Yes, if we lose 516, I will change my mind. There could be a small dip here before it tries to break out higher. But despite any small dips, the share price looks bullish. We're still looking bullish right now. It looks like it's on a nice uptrend. So keep that in mind. Even if we do get some kind of like shuffle or even a move down like this, I'm not worried about this. As long as we continue to hold up, we could continue to push like this. We still look more bullish. As long as we don't lose this support right here at 516, we remain bullish on the QQQ. On the IWM Russell 2000, we look bullish. As long as we don't lose 226, we are favoring a push for essentially the 230 area. So just keep that in mind. There's most definitely potential in this chart. For ES, as long as we don't end up losing 60-20, we are favoring that we want to slowly uptrend for that 60-80, then 6100 targets. Just keep that in mind. For NQ, as long as we don't lose 21,500, we're favoring upside for essentially the 21,750 area or above. So we still favor the upside direction. For Bitcoin, although we've been dipping, we're looking for a move back down towards 96,000. We'll see if we bounce or not off of this. If we manage to break past 98,850, we'll see how things end up going. But on the 4-hour, we're losing these supports right here. We're looking for 96,000 as the main level, so we'll just have to see if we bounce or not, so keep that in mind. For Nvidia is looking a bit more bullish. If we manage to hold above 121, we're looking for an attempt for 125 to 126. If we end up losing 120, we're looking for a dip back down, but I think this is favoring upside back up for 126. So it's looking quite good so far. As long as we don't lose 121, Nvidia should continue to option for 125 to 126. Looking quite good. Once again, guys, Tesla's continuing to dip here. It's shuffling and dipping to about the 380 zone. We got to hold this or else Tesla will dip more. So we'll see if Tesla holds 380. Like I said before, the news is a little bit negative for Tesla. For Aapl, we basically grabbed liquidity at 226 and we're seeing buyers defend it. It has a gap to fill up here. So as long as we don't lose 226, I think we should be pushing to fill that gap back up to about 232. So there's a potential for Aapl to try to bounce. For a few more, AMD dips quite a bit. So we're going to be watching to see if 105 holds at the very least, but it's still looking bearish overall after getting this liquidity grab up here and a big rejection. So unless we get back above 113, I think this is still favoring downside. It's still very, very weak. ARM is bullish. Like I said in my video yesterday, we're looking for 170 as a target. Coin is just completely range bound between 277 and 285. It's going to likely just continue to go back and forth. Amazon's dipping a bit, but it should try to base at 234 to 233. I could see it dip a little bit more because of Google, but it's going to be fine, guys. Not the end of the world. We did call out some downside anyways. Meta is barely holding 700, might decline to about 691 before it tries to bounce, but still not doing too bad. Microsoft, you want to get back above 413 to bounce for essentially 417. And then Google's a little bit lackluster. We're barely around our 200 EMA. Going to be looking for essentially 189 to be retested. That's the support right over here. It might get close to that, and we'll see if we base around here. As long as we don't lose that, we could try to bounce off of that. So watch to see if 189 holds on Google or not. If it doesn't hold, we could be dipping a lot more. So we'll see about that. With that being said, guys, the market is holding up decently. We'll see if SPY dips and bounces. Overall, there should be a bounce coming, even if it does dip a little bit more to grab liquidity. But it's still holding support. It's still technically on an uptrend. As long as we don't end up losing like 598 or so, I think that SPY is going to be completely fine. So we'll see if we end up losing that or not. even if we're at like 599 or so, we're still technically on an uptrend on SPY. We still have a bullish wedge. As long as you don't lose the support right over here, we're going to be completely fine. So just keep that in mind, guys. Thank you all so much for listening. Hope you guys have a good rest of your day. And I'll be back with another update very, very soon. Thank you for listening. For Tesla, one more time. Let me find Tesla. Sorry, guys, 1 second. It's a little bit lackluster. Yes, we could be approaching 380, but we'll see if that holds or not. There are a lot of buyers who are trying to defend it around there. So we'll see. There's been a lot of bad news for Tesla, but let's just hope that it holds 380. With that being said, have a good day and peace out.